Hi, everybody. Good afternoon, good evening, and good morning to everyone that has tuned in to listen to the Status Town Hall today on the 5th of July. Thank you, everyone, for joining us, and we've got some exciting updates to give you today. First up, we are going to hear from Steph on the People Ops team. So, Steph, over to you.
Thank you. Terry, I just wanted to start with showing that our team has become bigger. Sabine and Angel were already around the last time there was a town hall, but this is our first team picture all together, and I wanted to show it. So you can go to the next slide. I'm going to talk a little bit about Peakon because I want to thank everyone that took the time to fill in the engagement survey that we ran at the beginning, like the first weeks of June. It took me a while to go through all the responses because we had over 280 comments to that, and I wanted to read each and every one of them. Our response rate was a little bit lower than usual, and I think the reason for that is that by moving the survey to become quarterly, it's probably taking a little bit too long to fill it in. So I will be playing with it and try to make it shorter for the next rounds because I understand that is quite a time commitment. But the good news are our engagement score keeps on going up. We've always been above the technology benchmark. We are still there, and we are almost at 9 points, which is almost unseen. You can go to the next slide, please. In terms of the main engagement question, I've just put this one here for you to see, but I will be writing a better recap and more in depth on Disqus. But our scores here are all really high up. You can go to the next one. Mental well-being is something that I have been focusing on coming back because I wanted to make sure people were doing well despite all the circumstances around us and this incredibly heavy couple of years. And it looks like these scores have improved quite a bit from the first time we asked. So I wanted to show you this as well, and you can go to the next one. The only part where we are below 8, we're still above the technology benchmark, but it looks like we should be working longer term on building career paths and learning and development opportunities, because that's the only part where we are not as strong as everywhere else. Next slide, please. And also I wanted to show you some of the free comments. Like one of the questions we asked was, what would you like to be doing as next team event? And it was overwhelmingly so that everyone said that in one way or another, they would like to meet in person. That's true for like 99% of the responses. We do obviously value all the opinions, and a couple of people said that they would prefer not. But the majority was quite strongly on let's try to organize something to be together. And trust me, we are trying. It's just that it's extremely complicated to combine the country restrictions that are changing almost on a daily basis and finding a location where we all can go, also based on the various entry requirements. But we will get there. We have restarted our travel perk subscription, and we are also evaluating another tool that would offer us a specific technology that allows us at least to make these choices a little faster and a little easier. You can go to the next one, Terry. More happy is something that we've asked the feedback upon for a while. I marked these ones manually because they were all open ends, so we didn't get an actual score in here. It doesn't look like it's something that is making everyone equally happy. So we'll be asking for a little bit more feedback, probably just as a quick poll, but I'm not sure that we're going to keep this service running after the end of July. An update on that will follow. We can go to the next one. Okay, our focus areas right now are quite big, and that's also why we are more people. We are still looking for another person to join on the people side. So please, if you know anyone that you think would be amazing to work with Terry and I on everything that has to do with people ops, please send their details. We're going to be in touch, or show them the posting on our website. One very important update is that we are going to be checking Peakon Grow. We already had a couple of demos. It works on the exact same platform as Peakon, so you all are familiar with that. And it's a system that offers integrated feedback. So every person can write their own self-assessment. and ask for 3 to 10 people within the organization to give them feedback on certain aspects. And all this data then gets combined, creating your own personal contributor dashboard where you can see what are your stronger points, what are your weaker points, what you should be focusing on doing better, and create your own plan. And it also allows for everyone within the organization to just send spontaneous feedback about any other person. So we like it a lot. It's very likely that we are going to launch this very soon this month. One thing we don't like a lot is Greenhouse. We have seen that it creates quite some delays also for hiring managers. It's clumsy, the UI is difficult, and that combined with several other reasons, we are testing another ATS, which is named Pinpoint. We're actually testing it now, and if anyone, the team leads already have access to a demo account. I shared it this morning in the team lead channel. If anyone else is curious to have a look around, we have access until tomorrow. We like this one very much, so it's likely that we're going to abandon Greenhouse by the end of the month. And lastly, we had our first learn-up last month, was received extremely well. There's a Discuss post with all the follow-up links and all the comments from Carly that is absolutely fantastic. We're going to have on the 16th of July, the second one from Yuri. Please tune in and leave your questions. You can go to the next one, Terry. Right, now very quickly through the anniversaries. We have had John with us for a year, and Alan, Simon for 2 years, Machi and Michael for 3. And in these last 4 weeks, we have welcomed quite a lot of new contributors. There's Alvaro in infrastructure research, Conrad for distributed systems in NIM, Saleh for QTQML UI developer in desktop, as well as Alexandra and Andre. They all started now. And Pablo that started last week as our legal consultant from Mexico City. Very warm welcomes to all of you. And I think that was it for us, right, Terry? Yep. Yeah. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Steph. Great update from People Ops. Next up, we're going to hear from Andrea for mobile. So over to you, Andrea.
Thank you, Terry. So in mobile, we've been working in the previous week on communities. We finished phase 1 and now we're almost finishing phase 2. There's still a few pending tasks that we're finishing. Then we've been working on pin messages. We also been working quite hard on some performance improvements. Like we moved to a different navigation system, and that should show on 1.15, and they're like very notable performance improvements. Another thing that kept us busy is the EIP 1559, so the London FERC. That's something that we need to get ready. We still don't know when it's going to be live on mainnet, but it's going to go live on testnet in a couple of days, so that will give us probably enough time to test. And we also been working on editing messages, and we released 1.14. And another feature that we've been working on is reset password. Now, this week, probably we will be cutting the new release branch 1.15, and probably it's going to go live hopefully the week after, or depending on how long it takes testing, which issues we're going to crop up. Next, we're going to keep on working again on communities. We're going to just get ready for 1.559, which is quite a lot of work, and we'll be working on message deletion on top of performance improvements and various back fixing. And that's all from me. Thank you. Back to you, Terry.
Thanks very much for the update. Next up, we're going to hear from Yuri from desktop. So over to you, Yuri.
All right, so on desktop, there has been ongoing refactoring just to make the code a bit even more legible, easy to contribute to. We also worked on this new team wiki and documents. So we're putting all the documents in the same place in ACMD, and there you can find pretty much all things desktop, from the the meeting minutes to the progress of different projects, what we're up to, any notes, also things, why we're doing certain things, why we're not doing certain things. And so hopefully if you want to get up to date on desktop, or you just want to get some technical documents as well, you can find it over there. The next slide will have the link to that. We also done like mutual contact requests, activity center, other highlights, the app updater, that's basically done. And we also have this QML library called Status Queue. So we have been updating desktop to now use those components. So the UI is all consistent and easy to change. And then next, we've been also working on a Windows installer, which will be ready soon. This is important because it allows us to do certain things like deep links in Windows, amongst other things. We also started to work on the channel user list for communities in particular. Also, we started the message search support. We will continue doing refactoring performance improvements that will be ongoing, and also continue the component library. And we also started to look at other phase 3 tasks of communities. And then the next slide. Yeah, here the URL you can go to see the wiki for desktop. So I appreciate any feedback. Please leave it on the desktop channel. That's it.
Thanks, Yuri. Appreciate the update. Next up, we're going to hear from Alec, who's going to give us an update on growth and retention.
Thank you, Terry. Let's start with app installs. This chart presents the sum of App Store and Google Play app installs. We got almost 227,000 app installs since the previous town hall, and over 1,324,000 since the beginning of this year. On average, we are getting around 7,200 installations per day, and 99% of those, over 99% of those, happen through Google Play. So let's move to the next slide. This chart shows the volume of newly acquired Google Play users, and well, the values here on those two charts are very similar, mainly because, as I previously mentioned, over 99% of our app installs happen through Google Play. And well, this is a Google Play metric, so hence the similarities. Nonetheless, this year we acquired almost 1,319,000 users, including 228,000 since the last town hall. And well, we acquired plenty of users. How many of them keep the app on their devices, you ask? And the next slide will answer this question. So install the audience. This is the number of users who have our app installed on at least one device that has been turned on in the last 30 days. That's Google Play definition of it. Last Thursday, we had over 543,000 of such users. Today, it's a little over 550,000 users. So well, we are growing. Let's go to the next slide. Google Play daily active users. So we are back at over 12,000 daily active users. So that's how many users on Android devices alone open our app on the daily basis. So I think this is cool. Let's move to the next slide. So for the first time, temporarily, and as a result of a little experiment, Tanzania surpassed Brazil in terms of users. But in general, we've got users from all over the world, and there are over 156 countries in which we've got at least 10 users with our app installed. Well, I think this is cool. Almost 40% of our users come from LATAM, which is the result of Eduardo's and his team great work. Recently, we noticed high interest in countries like Mali, Togo, or Gabon, which is something we'll be looking into. But for now, let's move to the next slide, which is the summary. So over 1,324,000 app installs and over 1,318,000 new users since the beginning of this year. On average, we are having over 12,000 Google Play users, and over 543,000 people have our app installed on their devices. So that's all from me for now. Thank you, and back to you, Terry.
Thank you very much for your update, Alec. Next up, we're going to hear from Jacob from Infrastructure. Over to you, Jacob.
Thanks, Terry. There's been a lot of work happening both on the continuous integration side and fleets. We have a bunch of upgrades for continuous integration builds in both mobile and desktop, and also for nodes like Numwaku. We have new Xcode in preparation for Xcode 13. We got to 12.5. We have a new mirror for Qt binaries for desktop, because the company that provides Qt is making it harder and harder to actually download and install Qt. It's going to probably get worse in the future, which actually kind of fits their former name, which is called Troll Corp or Troll something. They definitely do feel like a troll. We have a new host for Jenkins with more storage, because we used to have some issues with that. I also moved Nexstar to a separate host for additional storage. We fixed some issues with Maven repositories for Android, and a bunch of upgrades to Nix packages for mobile, but without upgrading Go to 1.16, because there's still some issues with iOS on ARM32. We don't have an F-Droid release for 1.14, and we might skip it and just go directly to 1.15, since it's just a bit of a bother, and the change isn't that big. There should be no issues upgrading. And we also have a new continuous integration jobs for Numwaku, which should be faster compared to what GitHub did. We are moving Nimbus beacon nodes to other providers and other types of systems. So we have nodes on Windows now. They don't have any validators yet, but that's coming soon. We had a segmentation fault issue on Windows caused by metrics endpoint, but Stefan already fixed that from what I've seen. It should be merged soon. And we have a metal host on Hetzner, which a bunch of validators already has been moved to that. That saves a bunch of money. Also allows us to test on bare metal hardware, so that's nice. We have Camunda being deployed for, I guess, all kinds of automation of processes, and I'm going to be integrating that with Google Auth, so that should come soon. There's some work being done on replacing Google Suite, so we now have an installation of Nextcloud, which is just for testing for now, but eventually probably become available to the whole company. And we're also working on possibly integrating Glue with Nextcloud for better authentication and authentication with other services like I don't know, Gita, GitHub, whatever. And I migrated Fathom to a dedicated host for better performance. And we have a bunch of improvements in metrics, specifically alerting on networking traffic and anomalies seen in networking traffic. I've decommissioned the old Prometheus host and did a bunch of cleaning up with logs to save up some space, because we had a lot of garbage in there. That's most of it. Thank you.
Thanks, Jacob. But next up, we are going to hear from Johnny, who's going to give us an update from marketing.
Thanks, Terry. So in Latin America, we continue to get press coverage working with our PR team, Arigato. You can see some of the articles on the right. And Eduardo is hosting a bunch of conversations with new privacy-focused influencers, so expect to see some content with influencers in Latin America there. In South Korea, Jinho is doing a lot of work. We ran what we're calling phase 0 of the Node program, in which we invited people to invite nodes. We had 19 participants, and we're paying them out now, which is great. Jinho is doing a lot of new content, video content, and we started a new YouTube channel. He's also doing a bunch of interviews with Korean ambassadors, and one of our interviews got over 1,200 likes on Facebook, so our content's performing quite well there. And with all the effort, we've seen our Kakao community increase by 31%, so progress in South Korea. With the core app, we're doing a lot of community-centric content, writing about decentralized social and what that means, and driving people in to discuss for long-form conversation, which is great. We're doing some message testing for the upcoming communities feature, just to see what resonates most with both community admins and end users. We're doing a bunch of research around partner programs, looking at Discord partner programs for the eventual launch of that feature, which is great. And then finally, we're preparing an extension of what we're calling phase 0 of the node program. We're going to invite around 100 people to set up their own nodes and run status nodes, and that's looking to kick off August 1st. On the growth side, Simon's working on an app or a DApp to educate and reward people. It's working with Simona on that. It looks like it's going to be a DAO, which is cool. And then there's continued work on the swaps and on-ramp side of things. So we'll find a partner and we'll do some content around that. And then lastly, we're doing a lot of work with VAC and Waku. We're doing some updated branding and updated websites for Oscar and his team, and we want to get that all live before the Node program hits because it is obviously all related. So keep an eye out for that. Back to you, Terry.
Thanks very much, Johnny. Next up, we're going to hear from Simona, who's going to give us an update about communities.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much, Terry. So from the community side, on the communities feature, you heard a little bit about it from Andrea earlier and Yuri. We have completed the user research phase 1. We basically invited a lot of prominent community creators within the crypto space. And also influencers from Latin America to join us for an interview where we essentially ran them through some of the different aspects of the feature that we're planning. We're going to do another set of interviews as we advance a little bit more, but also potentially looking at interviews centered around what these creators dislike about the tools that they are using today and how we can make that experience better for them. The overall feedback was incredibly encouraging. So we are well on our way to building something that people need, that people want, and again, focusing on those very important crypto native features that will take us from, or will take communities from the current Web 2.5 kind of dynamic into a genuine Web3 experience in terms of how they manage their communities. So that's really encouraging. And like I say, we are planning more because we want to build this community feature with the community itself. Then, as the team mentioned earlier as well, work is already on the way, phase 2A, and then we're scoping out 2B, which again, very interesting and important things to make sure we have down before we tackle more, I guess, more complex flows like crypto-based, token-based access, and so on. Everything is running smoothly. We want it to be a very good experience, but also a very robust feature. So everything and everybody is working hard to make sure both of those things are in line. Then the dog fooding phase, we will be moving status, the organization, onto communities. And again, that is one of the reasons why we want to make it a robust product that can support that that kind of activity. And also we of course believe in the importance of dog fooding before we share this more broadly and externally. Then in terms of local engagement, our crypto atelier work has seen a lot of uptake from artists in Colombia. So what we are doing is creating a landing page which will explain the project or the initiative, and then also showcase some of the artists that we are working with. Just for context, the Crypto Atelier kind of initiative is one around teaching artists, particularly in Latin America, about crypto and how they can access crypto art, how can they can access all of the different platforms, of course, via status, and also looking at opportunities where we can help those artists break into the crypto art space. We are also expanding it, or looking to expand it, in Brazil. So that obviously will mean we have the content translated into Portuguese, and make sure that we also work with Brazilian artists. And in line with that, we are prepping an exciting engagement with Super Rare, which hopefully I will be able to share a little bit more about very soon. But it is again all focused on this accessibility, the support for artists wanting to come into the crypto art space. And then event-wise, we have ECC. It is fully confirmed now, July 20th to 22nd. We are community and communications partner. We will also be hosting a Waku workshop. And we also have some pretty exciting Waku-based announcements that we will hopefully, again, be able to share with you very soon. And then if we go to the next slide, please. And then in terms of ambassadors, we are in the process of really reshaping and refreshing that initiative. We feel there are a lot of opportunities for further engagement and better engagement for ambassadors at all stages of their journey with Status, from the moment they find out about us to the moment where they become true impassioned advocates. We have also launched a new Hangout channel for the global ambassadors so that they can interact a lot easier. They can share knowledge and tips and anything that they find relevant in their specific areas and potentially could apply to other regions as well. We have 3 new Brazilian ambassadors and a new Colombian ambassador in June. So Latin America is really, really buzzing, which we love to see. And then meetups in Uganda and Tanzania. I think Alec mentioned that our downloads in Tanzania are really, really ramping up. So again, very, very good to see the engagement in terms of further regions. Then this Korean ambassador interview series, we did start an ambassador interview or core contributor interview as well series last year, but we will potentially revive that in video format because of this great response that we have had from our Korean ambassador. Translation-wise, again, a lot of support for different languages, which is great to see. We want, and of course, need to make sure that Status is an international platform that is easily accessible to as many people as possible. And then we also have so Status React, and then also the homepage, which is now supported in 17 languages. And I think that is about it. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for the update, Simona. And that is it from us today. So thank you everyone for contributing, for listening, for giving the updates. Really appreciate everyone's time. The next town hall will be on the 2nd of August. So we look forward to hosting you then. Speak soon. Bye.